What's goody, my gang? Welcome to a video. You know, ever since 1968, people wonder, why are video games so difficult? And see, I've always answered that question with, I don't know. I played the first Kirby game on Game Boy, and that's easy. The easiest thing I've ever played. I've played it twice. And I haven't always answered the question with that. I didn't know Kirby existed like 4 years ago. Well, if it isn't my favorite video game that makes killing gods easier than, eating cake. I mean, yeah, he was killing gods in the later games, but in the first game on the Game Boy, Kirby's Dreamland, I believe is what it's called, he was just, killing a penguin, and I don't know why, none of the cutscenes say anything, and I don't have the original manual. I've done the hardest thing there is to do in this game, and all I did was click the A button. Alright, so we boot up the game, and grass. Yep, that's the thing that all Nintendo games do at the first level. For some reason, just they put grass in the level. Just like how the first thing I like to do in the morning is take a shower. Nope, not doing that. Well, one transition later, and now we have terrorism. Bombs. Obama is in the Kirby cannon. Thanks, Kirby. Now I know how to stop a school shooter. Now that we've done all the terrorism, got rid of that, time to fight the first boss of the game. This early on. Tree. Defeat this boss, you can eat the apples and throw them back at the tree. Which gives me an idea how to become Kirby. So it worked, that's for sure. So after we, do terrorism on a tree, the next level we go to is a castle. Shouldn't this be at the end of the game? That's where it would make the most sense, as if it was at the end. Well, this mini-boss here just requires us to eat the boxes and throw it right back at it, so it's not that hard, but that's what this whole game is like, so. And then the boss of the level is the exact same thing, but two of them now. Just like how biologically, I'm about the same as my dad. What? Guess who just got the award for first person ever to die for Kirby's Adventure on the Game Boy? Yeah, I'm close. Well, okay, so that would be a better second level, the Float Islands, just from the theming alone, but whatever. Okay, so just do some basic platforming, beat the mini-boss, then the boss the exact same. I think I see a pattern. Wait a minute, is this the level where the mini-boss is not the same as the actual boss of the level? Finally, because I don't think this level has a mini-boss, but I think the actual boss fight here is pretty good. It's the best one in the game, but that's not saying much. It's, Well, the next level we're playing is the Bubbly Clouds. I don't know what that means, but alright. And Alright, well, the mini-boss of this level is pretty easy to beat. He'll throw Waddle Dees at you, and you gotta throw them back at him. Yeah, I did use the Switch Rewind feature. I know, I'm not the man I want to be. And the actual boss is literally the same thing as the mini-boss. At least the last time when they reused a boss, it was like they added another thing that'll make it a little harder. But no, this is the same exact boss, but it's now got a different sprite. What the hell, Nintendo? Well, the final level is just a boss rush from all the other bosses, and then we fight King DDD, this weird penguin guy, but he's not a penguin because he doesn't have a mouth. Anyway, you gotta grab the stars that he throws at you, and then you gotta throw those back at him. It'll do damage to him, and then eventually he'll die. And the credits rolled after, like, not even half an hour. Wow, I don't know what to say about that, to be honest. Kirby's Dream Land was a really easy game, but I wouldn't say that wasn't fun. Like, if you were a kid back in, like, 1991 or whatever the game came out, I'd say, yeah, it was a pretty fun time for, like, half an hour, and you gotta play actual video game, but, like I said, it was actually pretty good. So that's really all I gotta say about it. Have a fantastic rest of your day. What's goody, my gang? Are you recently retired and you're looking for something to do with the rest of your life? Might I suggest to learn to talk about video games? So, you might be wondering, but wait, I don't play video games. Why would I want to talk about them? But you see, you don't have to play video games to talk about them. I don't know what this game's about. I've never played it before. It's got colors on it. And see, what are you gonna do to talk about video games? If we need footage of you playing a video game, you just hold the controller up to your face and look a bit grumpy. Can you tell the controller plugged in? And see, you have to have your arch nemesis game. Personally, I'm gonna go with any 3D Legend of Zelda. You're thinking, just don't buy it, but like, what am I gonna do next week? And see, when talking about video games, you have to have that one game that you bought, but you have no intentions on playing. You just kind of own it to own it. Like this game. I don't know what this game is. Can someone tell me? And remember, always be funny, especially if you're not funny. Okay, like, for example, why did Sega call this the Sega Genesis Collection? I feel like the Sega Deuteronomy Collection would work more. And also, our next lesson, never be afraid to do property damage on your own property for no reason. And hey, you're not going to be able to brag about your ability to talk about and collect video games, but hey, you'll always be able to use the dictionary to string together the words, I have more Nintendo Switch games than you. And just remember, you need to always complain about whatever Nintendo's doing. Even if you like what Nintendo's doing, you must complain about what Nintendo is doing. Like, why does this game need to be a digital code that I don't own for the Nintendo Switch eShop? It's the best game of all time, but why does it have to be a digital code? And hey, you have to have that one video game that you always like, but everybody else hates for some reason. Like this copy of Pokemon Shining Pearl. It's great. It's good. To anyone that says this is not good, you're wrong. Just because I have the right opinion about every single video game. And I like every single video game, except for the bad ones. And hey, you're running out of reasons not to talk about video games. Like, we've already had 2 World Wars. Might as well add a copy of Kirby Air Riders to the mix. Am I right? So, go out there and talk about video games. Please, I need this. I want more people to have the same hobby as me so it can be more confusing as to why people don't talk to me. What's goody, my gang? Say, recently I realized that it's almost Valentine's Day, which means, guess what? Love is in the air. And see, I want none of that. If you talk to women, you'll eventually get a wife, and if you have a wife, you'll eventually have kids, and eventually that's your entire life will be taken up by them. So, if I never talk to women in the first place, that won't happen to me. So, how am I gonna make sure no woman will ever want to talk to me? Simple. We're talking about the L button for 23 minutes today. And also, I did kind of want to be a Scott the Woz ripoff for 23 minutes, and he said he'd do it, he didn't, so So let's just talk. Let's start by talking about what the L button does, I guess. The L button is the button in video games typically used to shoot things. Now, you're thinking, okay, why should I care about this so I don't play shooter games? Well, most games have a segment where you need to throw something or shoot something. So, all games that are on consoles with L buttons use the L button to some extent. You know, back in the arcade games, when arcade developers were releasing cabinets, they didn't have to have buttons that just had letters on them. They would label them with what they did in the game. And even if we're just talking about shoulder buttons, what game developer had shoulder buttons on the arcades? I hate to say it, but if you were an arcade developer and you were putting shoulder buttons on your arcade cabinets, just know you were always the weird one. Oh, I sure do love being an arcade developer that puts the L button in his video games.
Get away from me!
Now, on the NES, all the games had the same controller to work with, so they were only labeled with letters, and, the D-pad and stuff existed, but Nintendo didn't feel the need to add a shoulder button when they were making the NES, and neither did, Sega with the Sega Master System. Now you might be wondering, Caleb, you don't own a NES controller. How do you know if it had an L button or not? But trust me, I've done my research. Now, on the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo re-released the NES controller for Nintendo Switch Online to include L buttons. Now, the only thing that the L button does on the NES NSO controller is it helps you navigate the menus and nothing more, and I think that's why Nintendo decided to add those buttons. And I also decided to make it a Joy-Con. Now, the Sega Master System, and, most other controllers from this time, they were just trying to make their version of the NES controller. So, why would they add an L button? Nintendo wasn't doing that. It wouldn't make them cool if they did that, because they were just trying to make their own version of the NES controller outside of that. So, L buttons didn't really exist back then. Now, here I have a Sega Genesis controller, and despite this version of Sega Genesis controller looking like a boomerang, this controller didn't have an L button. It had a C button because, that's where they were competing with Nintendo. They were adding more buttons. And there's a mode button up here. I don't know why it's there. It's kind of like an R button. But you see, even though Sega, they were trying to be advertised they were better than the 8-bit consoles by having, more buttons, they didn't have a left shoulder button. Now, the Game Boy, it was trying to go for a portable NES-type vibe, so it wouldn't make any sense if it had shoulder buttons. The NES didn't. Because, think about it. What games in the NES need shoulder pads, and, what Game Boy games would need them? It just didn't make sense. So, when Nintendo clapped back at Sega, they've put shoulder buttons on their controller so that it would have about the same amount of buttons as the Sega Genesis controller after revisions and all that. So, what did the game bundled in with the Super Nintendo Super Mario World do to prove the validity of the L button? It doesn't. Maybe you hate the letter L. Yeah, all it does is move the camera slightly left. I know, it's kind of lame. Alright, I'm sorry I don't have a Super Nintendo controller to hold. I don't own a Super Nintendo or the Nintendo Switch Online controller. I'm sorry. I know, it's crazy. I'm trying to not talk to women by talking about the L button on Valentine's Day instead, and I don't own an NES or Super Nintendo controller. I know, the world's gonna end. I'm sorry, guys, it's all my fault. Oh, I love that Zelda Link to the Past title screen. So what did this game do about the L button? Roughly nothing, but hey, look, my save file. I did a little speed run of the game in 5 minutes, so that's how the game looks like this. Doesn't it look cool? So, why didn't I talk about Star Fox? I've never played it. Alright, now correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that the Sega Saturn controllers did indeed have the L button on them, but they were really just copying the Super Nintendo controller. But why would you even want a Sega Saturn? What games does it have? What, the Mega Man games? Really? Let's see, why would I buy a Saturn for those when? Yeah, Mega Man 8 and X4 on PlayStation, so why would I need a Sega Saturn? So I can fight bosses from Mega Man 1? What are we doing here? Now, the original PlayStation did something great, and it had 2 L buttons, but there wasn't a left stick, and that was fixed with the first revision of the PlayStation 1 controller, although there's L1, L2. And why is L3 stick click? I will never understand that. If I will always complain about that any chance I get. Now, the PlayStation 2 and 3 controllers, they were the same as the PS1 controller, except the PS3 was wireless, but there's something you need to know. When we're talking PlayStation 4, I own a PlayStation 4 controller. See, guys, I can talk about controllers whilst actually owning them. Why, yeah, I never play a video game with them because I talk about video games and I don't play them. That's why game journalist companies want to hire me, but I can at least own what I'm talking about. So here we have my PlayStation 4 controller, and as you can see, we got L1 and L2 that work as standard shoulder and trigger buttons. And then you got the touchpad. You can use that to press the L key on the keyboard, and then, of course, you got the stick click. I hate the stick click on PlayStation 4. I'm going to tell you this right now. I will never forgive Sony for making L3 the stick click, okay? Sony, if you're watching this, I had to Google what L3 was. I freaking hate you for that. So before having an aneurysm talking about how much I hate L3, well, you might be wondering, what do you mean pressing the L key on the keyboard with the touchpad? You see, some games, they'll have a digital keyboard that pops up, and the touchpad allows you to, move the cursor with your finger on the little touchpad, and you can press the letter L with it. So, it's an L button enough for me. Anyway, here's my crappy third-party PS4 controller I got one time. I once destroyed it because it didn't work. Yeah, that was a great investment. Well, after talking about the PlayStation 4, I'm glad there are no other... Fine, I'll talk about the PS5. This is what we in the market call a PlayStation 5 controller. Essentially, it is just the DualSense is really just an upgraded version of the PlayStation 4 controller. It's got the touchpad for, clicking the L button on digital keyboard. It's got L1, L2. This is a trigger button, which is the PS4, that too. As I said, it's really just a PS4 controller with new L buttons. See, yeah, once companies got to a certain point in making the L button, they just never evolved from that. And now I'm struggling to get 23 minutes out of the L button. Well, now I got PlayStation out of my system, it's time to talk about different and worse things. Of course, I'm talking about the stupid Nintendo things like... Take me back! Take me back! So, you might be thinking, why do I hate the Nintendo 64 so much? You're talking about the L button so you can't find a mate in the future. Why would you hate this? I hate spiders, and this looks too much like a spider for me. I hate it. It's terrible. I don't know why anyone could like this, except for maybe a mother. But even then, I feel sorry for anybody that has had to lie about liking this. I truly do feel sorry for you. And here we have the Nintendo 64 controller. As you can see, we have the standard L shoulder button at the top. And this is the Nintendo Switch Online version, if that's okay with you. But that's not the only thing about this. It has a stupid trigger button on the back. You're like, this is a Z button. But on the Switch version, it's the ZL button now. So I'm going to refer to it as an L button. Nobody naturally will use this as a trigger. When you're playing like this, you're gonna try to... I hate this trigger. I hate this controller. I only bought this because the camera, the second stick is not a stick, it's just buttons. Buttons. In some games, they use this as actual buttons. I hate this controller. Get out of my sight right now. The Game Boy Advance was a portable Super Nintendo in many ways. One of those ways being the fact that its L buttons were just standard L buttons, and now you're thinking, okay, so why does that matter? It's just buttons. Well, at around the same time, Nintendo released what I like to call the peak of gaming controllers. And here we have the Nintendo GameCube controller. And oh my, oh me, is this great. So, let's talk about the L button here. Yeah, there isn't exactly a second ZL button or anything, but that's okay, because this is the peak of buttons. See this? It's pressure sensitive, and Honestly, look at how it, like, how your fingers are able to, like, carve around it, kind of like that. It's peak. I don't understand how anyone can hate this. Although, just like the N64 controller, you can't press the stick for a left stick click input. But some of these issues were fixed in the Nintendo Switch Online version, so let me go grab that real quick. And here, we have the Nintendo Switch Online version of the GameCube controller. So, as you can see, there is now a second L button. Looks like a Tic Tac. I hate it. But it works when I'm playing Smash or something. Now, as you can see, there's still no stick click. But what makes it great is that it adds a second L button, and most of the controller inputs you want for modern games are here. Like that, the home button, I'm gonna have to talk about the C button next, aren't I? 2,000 likes and I'll do it. But as you can see, this controller is still peak. Still got the pressure-sensitive buttons. I'm telling you, if you have a Switch 2, get this controller. I do not care what you have to do to get it. Get this controller. Now, the original Xbox had two stupid controllers. The first one kind of looked like a keyboard ball, and the second one looked like something you could actually use. However, this solidified something that I think is pretty cool. It solidified that every single console had its own different L button. You see, Xbox, they had weird triggers for their triggers. Well, PlayStation has one of my favorite triggers in all of history, and then the GameCube is peak. Now, the Xbox 360 had what some people consider to be the best controller ever, but why talk about that when I could talk about something I own? So, here I have the controller for the Xbox Series S, and I believe it was also the controller for the Xbox One. So, you got the basic stick click, that's, the left stick click, and now, here we have the two L buttons. The shoulder button is a shoulder button, but the trigger, kind of like that, but see, there's a slight curve in the trigger, and I don't like that. It makes it feel weird and like it's gonna break. I've never had any other Xbox controller, but this is the one part of this controller that I do not like. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Also, batteries. So here, I have a Nintendo 3DS to talk about. Now you might be wondering, why aren't you talking about the original DS? Well, because I'm too lazy to put a picture on the screen right now, and, this is peak handheld gaming. So let's look at the 3DS's L button. So, first of all, the console itself looks like a chocolate bar. Second, the L on the L button is upside down. So if you were to play a console like this, how you're supposed to play it, because then the L is upside down. Is it supposed to be like this? Do I have a really rare 3DS or something? So, that's not the only thing that's stupid about this L button. There's a little indent of a camera on there, which would be fine, but this thing isn't just a camera. I may use this as a camera, but it's not just a camera, guys. I know. It's crazy. I really hate the L button on this thing. Still peak gaming, still look like a chocolate bar, but I hate the L button on this console. I will curse the L button on this console every single night before I go to sleep. While the Wii remote didn't exactly have a standard L button because it's not a standard controller, the Wii Classic controller did. It had an L button, had R button, had Z. It didn't have triggers. For some reason, it just had little Tic Tacs instead of triggers. But all that was fixed in what we like to call the Wii Classic Controller Pro around here. And the Wii U, let's just assume Nintendo hates the Wii U. Alright, so that brings us to the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. So, something about the Joy-Cons here is that the L button here, and there's an L button on right there when you're playing like this. And the right Joy-Con also has the SL button. I just thought that was kind of neat that the right Joy-Con had an L button. And let's not forget, still got at least 2 L buttons like this. So here we have the Switch 2 Joy-Cons. They're roughly the same deal as the Switch 1 Joy-Cons, but they're bigger. And, of course, same with the L buttons. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. You see, what a lot of controllers do is they have reprogrammable buttons. So this right here, it's an L button. I can make it be whatever one of these buttons I want. So, I mean, I could say that any of these buttons are A buttons or L buttons because I can reprogram any of them to the L button. But are we really gonna like be complaining that I didn't talk about the A button in a video about the L button? The government seems to care about a different thing that I didn't do. So, like water taxes. But you see, I don't know if anybody cares about the L button. So how am I gonna make people care about the L button? Oh, hey, look, news site. He just gave me a notification. Oh my god, guys. Nintendo just bought the patent to walk in video games. This is gonna make me really mad for the next 2 weeks. Oh my god. I know exactly how I'm gonna make people care about the L button again. I'm going to patent the L button in video games, and then people might be mad at me, but they'll actually think about the L button and give it the recognition that it deserves. Although, what am I going to do to patent the L button? It's such a stupid patent, and I'm not Nintendo. Although I have an idea. I'm going to get on the phone with my local congressman, and then I'm going to bribe him $20 to let me patent the L button at the U.S. Patent Office. Now, if that doesn't work out, I'm going to be broke and I'm going to have to find a job. You know, I'm going to have to quit my job at the unemployment office. But if I can pull this off, people will finally care about the L button again. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, where's the phone? Alright, so I got the burner phone I'm going to use to call a local congressman and Senator E. Morrill. I don't know why his first name is the letter E. You can ask him about that. And I have my wallet, so I know how much money I can bribe the local congressman with. So, let's call him up. Hi, is this U.S. Senator E. Morrill? Alright, so, I figured I'd like to give you some money. Let me just... Sorry, I'm holding my wallet with one hand here. $20. Oh, really? You'll take that? So now do I just call up the U.S. Patent Office, or... Okay. Well, it worked. I have to go give the local congressman this $20 now. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Well, now that I've given the local U.S. senator all of my money, let's call up a different person, you know, someone in the U.S. Patent Office, and see if I can get a stupid patent. Hello, I'm here to make a stupid patent. No, I'm not Nintendo, I'm just a person. What do you mean you can't give me a patent on the L button? Oh, it's because I'm not Nintendo? But like, I'll bribe you for it. I'll give you a 20 to care. Okay, yes, I know I don't have any money in my bank account at the moment, but I can take out a loan to bribe you to make you care. He just hung up and blocked me. Well, I did it. I talked about the L button for 23 minutes, and I went into debt trying to make people care about the L button again. And so, after lobbied a politician, didn't work out. So I had to get a job at McDonald's here, as you can see. So I can probably pay off my debts if I work hard enough. So I also might be able to get a house of my own one day instead of living with my parents. You know, having a job isn't all too bad, especially when I get my 3DS with me. And you know, what makes this job not great is the fact that when I bring my 3DS with me, I have to look at the 3DS's L button. It sucks. Please, Nintendo, fix this. Listen to the 14-year-old white boy and fix the 3DS's L button to not have a camera on it. Nintendo, I hate you. What's goody, my gang? Violence. Hey, did that trigger any concerned mothers out there that didn't let their kids go outside? Well, I'm going to be using a lot more of that. It's pretty violent. Anyway, today I figured, well, might as well endorse the side of video games I don't really play a lot. The fighting game, you know, the one where you fight people in a violent way. We're talking about Sonic the Fighters. I don't know what you were expecting. The idea of a Sonic fighting game came out to be when Sega AM2 character designer Masahiro Sugiyama jokingly added Sonic and Tails into the game he was working on called Fighting Vipers because he was bored. So this is why it's good to be bored, guys. If boredom didn't exist, we wouldn't have Sonic the Fighters. Now, you, Suzuki, the producer of Fighting Vipers, saw this, and that's when the idea of a Sonic fighting game was truly born. Now, all that needed to happen was to pitch the game and actually make it. They then pitched the idea of a Sonic fighting game to Yuji Naka, and really surprisingly, his only concern was that Sonic's proportions didn't seem to work well for fighting. But the team working on the game assured that it wouldn't be an issue, and Naka even provided the developers a Sonic figure they could properly make 3D models of the characters with, because it was the first 3D Sonic game after all. The game was first released in 1996 in Japanese arcades, running on Sega Model 2 arcade hardware. When Sonic the Fighters came to North America, it was put under the name Sonic Championship for some reason. Now, it was reported that a Sega Saturn port of the game was being worked on, although that was eventually canceled. But you can still find old advertisements saying that it was coming. But I think the real reason that it got canceled is because no one that's happy makes Sega Saturn games. I'm Sega. I don't bring my games to the Sega Saturn.
The game was later brought to the GameCube and in Japan only the PS2 as when part of Sonic Gems collection as a really accurate port. Now, I don't have this collection, so you're going to be wondering, how did I find a way to play it? Well, you see, that's when the Xbox 360 version comes in. I'm going to be playing that for this video. But before we do that, let's look at the game that Honey the Cat, the guest appearance from Fighting Vipers, comes from. Alright, I'm just going to do one run through as Honey and then just see where that gets me.
Round 3. Go!
Sega, this is the character that you decided to put in your family-friendly 2D Sonic fighting game? The character who has designed to have sex appeal and is 16? Sega, what are you doing? Out of all the characters from Fighting Vipers to appear in Sonic the Fighters, that one? What are we doing here, Sega? What are we doing?
Let's just get into Sonic the Fighters. So I got all the settings set up, so now it's time to play the game. Alright, the plot is that Death Egg 2 has been built. Oh, look, Rocket Metal. And has been built by Dr. Robotonic. Wow, they used the wrong spelling of his name. And it's not even a known spelling. What? Anyway, Dr. Robotnik.
Who? Oh, I know him.
Oh, my bad. I meant Dr. Robotonic has built the Death Egg Mark II, and he's decided to try to take over the world with it. And Tails builds a rocket ship to go stop Eggman, but it's a one-seater. So now Sonic and his friends have to fight for the 8 Chaos Emeralds. 8? You know, I've been contemplating how this fits into the Sonic canon for the last 14 years of my life. Look in the mirror and all that.
How old am I again?
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I'm too lazy to talk about each stage, but this is Sonic. Why am I using footage of the last stage of the game? I don't know. Anyway, so Sonic's gameplay is a bunch of punches. He's got a spin dash. If I show it, I don't really want to. But, yeah, he's pretty cool. And, fun fact, his moveset is literally his exact moveset from Smash. Like, almost exactly. This is, like, the main inspiration. Well, it's time to look at Tails now. This is Tails. He's Sonic's best friend. He's got a bunch of cool attacks. He's one of the only characters that I can't beat Knuckles perfect with. And he has an attack where you can grab your opponents in the air and drop them. So that's cool. Other than that, he's just got punches like Sonic. Fang the Sniper. He can use a gun. Fun fact, Sonic can actually deflect those bullets by going into its ball form. But yeah, Fang can use a gun.
America!
Bean is one of the 2 original characters made for this game. He's a duck, and he's called Bean the Dynamite. And he can use bombs. I don't have any footage of him using bombs, but trust me, he can use bombs like that.
Bombs? This isn't Japan in 1945.
And now we have the other character made for this game, Bart the Polar Bear. And when they were making this game, they really emphasized he was strong. So his moveset has a lot of punching and like picking characters up and throwing them. Well, guys, it's time to talk about Espio, Sonic the Fighters. Yeah, that's right. This is his second appearance in the Sonic series, I believe. And this is also the last time that we ever see Espio's unique spin dash, where he's a top kind of thing. And that's the most unique thing about him. Alright, and here we have Amy, otherwise known as Rosie the Rascal. I've never heard that before. But anyway, this is the very first time that Amy Rose sparks her hammer, her Pico hammer. She's first introduced in this game, and that's the main attack that I use against Tails here. You know what I like about this game? How Honey the Cat's just a bunch of question marks when you're starting a round or anything. So, let's see. So Honey the Cat, she feels heavy when you're playing as her, and that makes sense. She's wearing a lot of metal. And she's got the exact same movement as she does in fighting Vipers. That's neat. Hear me? Guys, that's neat. You know, Knuckles, whenever they, put him in anything, they always emphasize him as the strong guy, and that's why his movement set is just a bunch of punches. And I like that, whenever he punches something, his fist, it, grows bigger. And also he has a spin dash, but who cares?
Well, I've gone over every single character in Sonic the Fighters except for Super Sonic and the characters that are only accessible via hacking. Now, I don't really have a way to get the hacker-exclusive characters because I don't play the game in an emulator, but someone on the internet allowed me to use footage of them using those hacked characters in the game. I'll credit them somewhere in the video, but because I don't like looking at an emulator, I'm just going to leave an audio recording of me here while I go to the annual people talk about Sonic the Fighters meeting that I just found out about. Apparently there's supposed to be a lot of people there.
Yeah, do you know what's cool? The fact that, when you play any of the hacked characters, they show up as Sonic on the character select screen. I love that. Anyway, so when you play as Dr. Robotnik in this mech here, he's pretty cool, because, he can, spin his arm and stuff, and it's easy to get perfects, I think. I don't know, I haven't played this guy.
Less people than last year, huh?
Oh, that's no coincidence. I forgot to sign up the invites.
Ah, yes, Metal Sonic, a character that's typically only a boss near the end of the game. Well, I think he has a lasers that can shoot out of his chest, and he can do a cool little spin attack, and that does like half the health. So, that's pretty cool.
You know, this is the first one of these conventions or whatever they're called that I've been to, and I want to. I mean, there's an HP Chromebook on the floor. Shut up! No.
Oh, gee willikers, I just love fighting myself as Eggman, fighting against Eggman, and well, being Eggman, and actually, no. He's Dr. Robotonic. We gotta be anatomically correct here.
Say, why are we having an event like this in a high school hallway with a freaking computer lab over there? Cameron, go over there.
Like, the budget was $6.80.
$6.80. What can you do with $6.80?
Do you know what's the funniest thing ever? It's the fact that I'm talking about Eggman again, and he plays exactly like how he did not in the UFO. It's really funny seeing him play exactly how he did not in the UFO, but he's in the UFO, and, like, he does not take advantage of it whatsoever. That will never not be funny.
So how do you like to play Sonic the Fighters? This is a Sonic the Fighters meeting after all.
Oh, I have a GameCube.
I do too, but I played the Xbox 360 version.
Oh, crap. He's on to me.
Holy peak character design. Look at that rocket metal. He typically only has like 3 seconds of screen time. I should probably talk about him. He plays like Sonic, not like Metal Sonic, like Sonic, and he has a lot of aura. So he's just peak character design.
You know, that pre-recorded audio file left back in my house to talk about the hackable characters in Sonic the Fighters, so I could go here. I realized that I didn't have permission to use footage of the Robo-Egg, so I might as well talk about it here. So, like, he seems to kind of play, like, Eggman in the mech, but, like, his head can spin.
That's correct.
How do you know that?
Oh, because I used an emulator.
Oh crap, I hate emulators, and I hate this person because they use an emulator. I gotta get out of here.
You know, I think I have to go, water my dog. Yeah. Well, that convention was lame. The first one I've been to, it was the worst. So, from now on, I'm never leaving my house ever again. And I mean ever. Well, I did talk about Sonic the Fighters, and to be honest, I think it's a pretty good game. Maybe one day I'll look back on the rest of the Dark Age of Sonic, the first Dark Age of Sonic anyway. But, well, for now, I'm gonna play the Sonic the Fighters. Look at that, I just unlocked Super Sonic. And oh my god, Super Sonic is exactly like Sonic, except he can't die. Wow. What's goody, my gang? Say, I've been playing the Nintendo Virtual Boy accessory for the Nintendo Switch recently, and hey, my doctor told me that's not good for you. You should probably look at something that's not red and black, so I figured, well, it's better than the opposite of red and black thing, green and brown. You see, I figured that since today, April 24th, is indeed Arbor Day, why not go outside for once and look at a tree? But see, I look at a tree every year. This year, I'm just gonna go out and start yapping about trees. Don't have a script or anything. Well, looks like there are trees behind me. Yeah, typically on Arbor Day, I just celebrate by looking at a tree, but this year, I'm going to talk about one. Alright, so let's talk about what trees are. See these things behind me, those big tall things? Yeah, they're older than you, and they're trees. That's for sure. You know, most trees have leaves. I don't know why the ones behind me don't, but most trees do. Now, most of the time, the tree leaves, they take in the stuff you breathe out, so... Yeah, the trees, they take that, and what they do is they turn it into air so that you can breathe, which is why I really hate arsonists, because they could kill trees like that, and how am I going to breathe air, dude? I love air, man. So, what else is there to know about trees? Well, see, if you follow me, as you can see, look at all these trees here. Look at them. There's so many of them. You might be wondering how there's so many trees. You see, there's so many trees because there are so many trees, you know. Forests, they exist. You know? So what happens is these trees, they're so old, so even if it takes a long time for a tree to exist, they're so old that, like, there are already a lot of trees there anyway, you know? Because, like, trees. So, talk about different types of trees. I don't know about different types of trees, so I'm not talking about them. But, I don't know. As you can see, these are pine trees over here. Any trees with leaves on them at this time of year don't have leaves on them for some reason. I don't know why. Don't ask me, ask the trees. Hey, Mr. Tree. Shut up. Let's see. What else is there about Arbor Day? Oh, look over there. See, that's what happens when you kill a tree. See, we hate the types of people that do stuff like this. Look, they killed a tree. How could you? You know? So, I'm going to start a process that's all forms of wood production, because I love trees. Not actually, I don't have the budget for that, but this is an improv skit about trees, the real script I made for this month. Me and my friends couldn't show up, so this is... Man, that's the first time I've canonically been outside before. Well, I'm not gonna do that for a while. At least... How far away is infinity again? But, hey, I can always go back to making my eyes bleed.
Sorry, there's no music for the credits. I don't know how to put that in because I'm stupid. But I was able to ask my friends to, talk about the L button for a few seconds for the credits, so enjoy that.
Alright, take a look at this controller. You see the L button? That's what really matters right now. See, this L button, it's been around for decades, right? And it hasn't even been given that much credit or, recognition. See, this adds so much versatility to our gameplay, and we don't even realize it. Gives you so much more functions. Just look at it. You can click it. You hold the controller and you just click it.
Hey y'all, Mr. Pickles. I'm just interrupting this this part of the video. First of all, to advertise my channel, go to MMR Pickles. It might be MMR.pickles. Could be either or. I'm not 1,000% sure. But I'm talking about the L button on the VR controllers. Look at the L buttons, bro. There's 2 of them. Bam. Bam. But yeah. Check out my channel. I make VR Gorilla Tag videos. Might make something new in the future, and I'm at my deadline. Bye.
Oh, yeah, you made it into a YouTube video. I don't know how to beatbox. I'm gonna sing a random song to have an outro to this video. Yeah, I just farted in the elevator. And they're like, who farted in the elevator?